Hello, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me today. We have a story from Gauteng that has caught the attention of many South Africans and sparked a lot of debate. Please make sure you watch until the end so you can see the sources and verify the news for yourself. The incident took place at a public clinic where a Nigerian woman was reportedly asked to leave after staff discovered that she had been pretending to be South African. According to eyewitnesses, the woman initially tried to access healthcare services as if she were a local citizen, but when questioned about her identification, it became clear that she was not who she claimed to be. The situation escalated quickly, drawing attention from both staff and other patients waiting at the clinic. This story has sparked mixed reactions. Many South Africans feel frustrated because public healthcare facilities are already under strain, and access to services is often limited for citizens themselves. Waiting times are long, resources are scarce, and clinics are often overcrowded. So when someone who is undocumented tries to bypass the system, it understandably raises concern among both staff and patients. Healthcare workers at public clinics are bound by a duty to provide emergency care to everyone, but non-emergency services are typically reserved for South African citizens or those with proper documentation. The staff involved in this incident were following standard procedure when they requested identification and asked the woman to leave after her claims could not be verified. While the decision might seem harsh to some, it highlights the challenges faced by public institutions that must balance compassion with operational limitations. For many South Africans, this case is emblematic of a larger issue, the ongoing strain that illegal immigration can place on public services. Clinics, hospitals, and other government services are stretched thin, and when undocumented foreigners attempt to access services intended for citizens, it creates friction and frustration. Stories like this reinforce the urgency for stronger immigration enforcement alongside improvements to social services. On the other hand, the human rights advocates have voiced concern that incidents like this can sometimes be handled insensitively. They argue that people in vulnerable situations, including undocumented migrants, can be left without proper care if systems are overly rigid. In this particular case, there are no reports of the woman being denied emergency medical attention, but the incident has nonetheless prompted debate about how healthcare facilities handle such situations. The Nigerian woman's attempt to pretend to be South African also brings up questions about identity verification and documentation. Many clinics and hospitals now require formal identification before providing non-emergency services. This helps protect resources for those who are legally entitled to them while ensuring that undocumented individuals cannot exploit the system. It also highlights the challenges faced by staff who must distinguish between legitimate patients and those attempting to bypass regulations. Social media reaction to this incident has been swift. Many South Africans expressed support for the clinic staff, praising them for upholding the rules. Others debated whether stricter border control and immigration enforcement are needed to prevent such incidents from happening in the first place. Some even joked that if pretending to be South African were an Olympic sport, we would now have gold medalists. While humor is always subjective, it shows how deeply these issues resonate with ordinary citizens. Politically, incidents like this also feed into ongoing discussions about immigration policy in South Africa. Opposition parties and advocacy groups often point to situations like this to argue for tighter border controls, stricter verification procedures, and better enforcement of existing immigration laws. Conversely, the others emphasize the humanitarian dimension, urging that undocumented migrants must be treated fairly and with dignity, regardless of their legal status. What this story also highlights is the daily reality faced by public service workers. Clinic staff often deal with stressful conditions, including high patient volumes, limited resources, and challenging interactions. Handling situations like this Nigerian woman's case requires both professionalism and tact. Staff must enforce rules without escalating conflicts and ensure that care is provided where necessary. It is a delicate balance that requires experience, patience, and a clear understanding of the law. For ordinary South Africans, these incidents serve as a reminder of the pressures on public services. Waiting hours for healthcare is already a common frustration, and when non-citizens attempt to access services illegitimately, it adds another layer of difficulty. Communities that experience high levels of illegal immigration often feel the impact most acutely, particularly in urban areas with dense populations and overburdened clinics. This case is unlikely to be the last of its kind, given ongoing challenges with immigration and documentation. However, it may serve as a warning to those attempting to circumvent the system. Clinics and other public facilities are increasingly vigilant, and staff are being trained to verify documentation and enforce rules consistently. The goal is not to deny care to those in genuine need, but to protect limited resources for those who are legally entitled to them. It is also worth noting that while this situation is serious, South Africans are known for finding humor even in tense moments. Some social media users joke that the woman might have forgotten her acting skills at home, while others quip that impersonating a citizen could earn you a spot in a reality TV show called Pretend You're South African. The jokes may be light-hearted, but they reflect the way ordinary citizens engage with serious issues in their communities. In conclusion, this incident at the public clinic involving the Nigerian woman raises important questions about immigration, access to public services, and the challenges faced by both staff and patients. It underscores the need for clear procedures, effective enforcement, and compassionate handling of vulnerable individuals. At the same time, it reminds us that the realities of public service provision are complex, and balancing fairness, legality, and empathy is never straightforward. For now, South Africans are watching closely, and the conversation about immigration and public service access will likely continue. It is a reminder that policy, enforcement, and community engagement must work hand in hand to address the challenges we face. And on a lighter note, I suppose this story also proves that if you ever consider pretending to be someone else, make sure your paperwork matches your acting skills. Otherwise, clinic staff might just call you out, and you end up trending for all the wrong reasons. All images used in this video are for illustration purposes only. News sources: Times Live, IOL, News 24.